In this video, we'll compare the Dyson V15S Submarine to a standard wet-dry cordless vacuum, focusing on the key differences to help you decide which is better for your needs and whether the V15S is worth the high price. The Dyson V15S Submarine is Dyson's first wet-dry cordless vacuum, filling a gap in their lineup by offering a cordless option for cleaning wet messes. Its main selling points are its lightweight design and maneuverability, unlike the bulky cylindrical frames of most wet-dry vacuums. Essentially, the V15S is a V15 tech with a wet-dry nozzle specifically designed for this purpose. For a full V15S review, check out my other video for more detail. But here, we'll focus on how it differs from the standard wet-dry vacuum. The first difference is that the V15S Submarine is more compact, using a thin extension tube to connect the motor and nozzle, unlike standard models which have larger water tanks that add more bulk. This design allows the V15S to fit under lower clearance furniture more easily, though it still couldn't fit under my sofa due to the size of the submarine nozzle. Another key difference is that the V15S lacks a dirty water container. Instead, it uses a small tray behind a roller for debris, while the clean water tank is located on the nozzle right here. Dyson likely omitted the dirty water tank to keep the tool compact, but this design has its downsides, which I'll cover later. All standard wet-dry vacuums I've tested have separate clean and dirty water tanks, usually on the frame. One exception is a Narwhal S10 Pro, which places the clean water container on the nozzle, but it still has a bulky frame. One clear advantage of the V15S is that it is easier to clean, thanks to its more compact nozzle compared to standard wet-dry vacuums. The V15S Submarine is light and compact enough to rinse the cleaning head under a faucet. However, its lack of a sealed dirty container has drawbacks. The small, open-top tray fills quickly and drips with the slightest tilt, which could get messy. I noticed it was full after cleaning a small spill in my living room, an issue I never encountered with traditional wet-dry vacuums with sealed dirty water tanks. Another downside of the V15S nozzle is its inefficiency at picking up debris, especially liquids, a key function for any wet-dry vacuum, especially at this price point. Standard wet-dry vacuums with their larger water tanks and sensors alert you when the clean water tank is low or the dirty water tank is full. The great thing about these prompts is that they clearly tell you what's wrong through voice notifications. Since these use larger water tanks, you can use it on a larger spill without having to refill or empty them. However, these models tend to have a heavier, bulkier nozzles that are difficult to clean under a faucet, unlike the V15S. Another advantage of the V15S is its versatility. It can also serve as a standard stick vacuum for dry messes, thanks to its V15 Detect base. I wouldn't recommend using wet-dry vacuums to clean dry messes since it's not designed for such. It will constantly spray water, making it unusable on unsealed surfaces. And there's no dedicated storage for dry dirt, so debris-like hair can stick to this area or mix with water. Cleaning items like sand could even clog the drain if you're not careful with disposal. Standard wet-dry vacuums also aren't suitable for carpets, as their rollers are designed for cleaning hard floors. While both the V15S and standard wet-dry vacuums use rollers, the latter is generally more efficient at picking up liquids, as demonstrated in these tests. The V15S tends to push liquid forward rather than absorb it, which is a major issue. Some wet-dry vacuums, like the rope rack Dyad, use multiple rollers, but this doesn't always mean better performance, as single-roller models can be just as effective. One downside of a multi-roller design is it requires more maintenance. Another advantage of the V15S Submarine is its steering, which is sharper and smoother than most wet-dry vacuums. It uses a similar steering mechanism as the Dyson V8 soft roller, making it easier to maneuver in tight spaces. Most standard wet-dry vacuums with bulkier bases struggle with sharp turns. Only the Robrock Dyad offers comparable steering, but it can't stand upright without its base, which doubles as a charging station. Most standard wet-dry cordless vacuums have a self-cleaning cycle, which helps remove any debris buildup on the roller and nozzle. This system works up to a certain extent, but you'll eventually need to remove the roller and clean the nozzle. However, one advantage of these standard wet-dry vacuums is this self-cleaning cycle delays the need for manual cleaning. Instead of doing it after every mopping cycle, which is the case for the V15S Submarine, since it doesn't have a self-cleaning feature, you can do it once a month, which is what I'd recommend. The V15S has a longer runtime. It lasted over 80 minutes using the laser slim roller, and the submarine nozzle will roughly last the same time, giving it a massive advantage over these standard wet-dry vacuums, since most of these lasted for only around 30 to 40 minutes. And since these machines don't have a detachable battery, there's no way of extending runtime. Fortunately, these machines are very efficient at picking up liquid and debris, more so than a V15S, which negates this downside. Lastly, standard wet-dry vacuums are typically noisier, some reaching 80 decibels in the highest power setting. The Dyson V15S Submarine, with its single power setting, maxed out at close to 76 decibels, which isn't far off. So which of these would I recommend? Honestly, I'd go with the standard wet-dry cordless vacuum, given that these are cheaper and more efficient. You won't get the same vacuuming performance as the V15 Detect, but the limitations of the submarine nozzle torpedo its value. I'd rather use a traditional mop rather than cleaning the nozzle every single time. You could purchase a mid-price stick vacuum plus a standard wet-dry cordless vacuum and still spend less than getting a V15S Submarine. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If this video has been helpful to you, give it a thumbs up, subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified when I publish new reviews and comparisons like this one, and I'll see you in the next video.